On this episode of the Procedurally Generated Show, Ethan and Tony discuss Paper Mario. We talk about the week's biggest news and answer your question. Well, howdy, everybody. Welcome to the Procedurally Generated Show. I'm your host, Tony, and joining me this week, I've got Ethan.
Man, has it been a week?
Has it been a week?
I would say it's been a week.
It has been a week since we recorded last, that's for sure.
Yes, it has.
It rained, I think, 4 days this week.
For 4 days total, or just over the 4 days there's
4 different days.
Okay.
And my house would be flooded if it rained 4 straight days, I think.
That would not be good.
So I also was on my deathbed one day this week, so
that's not good.
Yeah, I got better, but unfortunately, I think I also gave.
I will never not laugh at that line.
I gave the death illness to my wife, I think. So
Well, at least it wasn't COVID or anything.
She may not be very happy with me right now. So but it was like a 24-hour stomach bug. So
one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fun stuff. But you and I have both been playing the same game this week. Should we just jump right into it?
Yeah, go ahead, because I know I am a lot further in that game than you are.
You are a lot further in that game than me. I'm an hour and a half or 2 hours into it at this point. So
I've defeated the second. I've released the blue ribbon.
I guess we should mention we were talking about Paper Mario, the Origami King.
Yes.
So, me being, I think I may be the bigger Paper Mario fan of the two of us. Maybe.
I really enjoyed the first one, and then Thousand Year Door, and then Super Paper Mario, and this one's a pretty good contender.
Yeah. Thousand Year Door still head and shoulders, I think, above all of the other ones.
Yeah, it still looks good to this day, even on a standard def TV.
Man, just imagine if they put that game in like the current Paper Mario engine. How good it could look.
It would look really amazing.
So, the one thing I maybe don't like with the current Paper Mario versus the old one is I don't like the little sort of thin outline of white around everything to make it look like they're, definitely on paper.
It adds a level of charm, I get it, but the world in this case makes sense for them to have that. Whereas in previous ones, like the original first game, and then Thousand Year Door, that one it's obvious the world's supposed to be paper, and you have like the weird flat layers. But this one, it makes sense how it's, because you're in both an origami and a paper world trying to coexist.
And I actually was thinking about Super Paper Mario this week, and whenever a new Paper Mario game comes out, I always sort of go back over my experiences of all of the games, and I got Paper Mario the day it came out. Like, I was in the store, I was super excited about that, and I really liked that game after playing through it. My thoughts of that one, though, were that it was a good game. It wasn't necessarily a good Paper Mario game.
The first one, or Super Paper Mario?
Super Paper Mario.
Okay, so you said that, and then you trailed off saying just Paper Mario. And I was like, oh, okay.
So,
yeah, my main complaint with Super Paper Mario is text. There is a lot of text.
There is a lot of text, but that's sort of the Paper Mario thing as well. I mean, the games are just full.
Yeah, but I mean, compared to the other ones, that one's just it's just a slog to get through. There's just so much of it on there. And then it's like you get a cutscene, get out of the cutscene, more cutscene. Really, guys, come on.
That story though is really good. Like,
it was still a fun game. Don't get me wrong.
But that story starts out really good, and it gets intense by the end, and like it is one of the best told stories I think in the whole Paper Mario franchise.
I think that's also like one of them where you want to watch what the demo reel or whatever that is before you hit start on the game because it's giving you additional story for once on there that you don't get playing the game normally.
Yeah, yeah. So, um, but getting back to the Origami King, after the last two games, one of which was really bad, and another one which I really enjoyed, but I thought it was sort of taking steps back towards what Paper Mario was supposed to be, and that's Color Splash. This one felt early on from the stuff we were seeing felt like another step back towards that more traditional Paper Mario game, where they were getting rid of the really bad card-based battle system that the previous two games had used, and getting back more towards that RPG Paper Mario combat system. They still haven't gone all the way back, and I've resigned myself at this point to think we're never going to get another traditional,
An
what
RPG in the
what would
Mario
have
game,
been, yeah, a traditional Paper Mario RPG. I think
unless
they're
they
just
unless they have a plan to just do a whole new Mario and Luigi game for like Switch, and they haven't said a word about it.
well, and the problem is that the developer for the Mario and Luigi games is no more.
Yeah,
Um,
well, I mean that's like saying the developer for Super Mario RPG.
well, that's true.
I mean Nintendo owns it; it's their characters and IP. They just have to find the right people to do the right thing, and
Mhm.
they'll be set.
I really, really hope we do get more Mario and Luigi games because those were really good as well. Like I love the two different franchises that we had for Mario RPGs, and the sort of different things that they brought to the table. Um, so, what are your overall thoughts though of the Origami King so far? Because you are further into the game than I am.
It's really good. I'm enjoying it. The If I had to say I had a complaint, it would just be the stupid combat puzzle stuff. Because you have a timer on there. It makes sense to have the timer. Don't get me
Mhm.
wrong on that. But they're like, all right, you have 30 seconds. Now solve this puzzle, or you don't get your 1.5 time attack bonus. And it's like, okay, I need to rotate these enemies and also like rearrange. And you start out with like super simple ones, and it's just okay. I can do this in 3 moves, and they're only giving me one. What the heck do they want me to do? I have
Yeah.
no idea what to do. Luckily, there's the training uh, area you can go into once you've unlocked it, and they have like a bunch of there's a ton of puzzles you can do in that thing, and they will show you the solution if you after you fail it or whatever in there. But I mean, it makes you have to restart. But that's really the only thing I despise of the game is just the difficulty when it comes to the combat puzzles.
Yeah, I don't entirely understand why they put that little puzzle before a fight in there. Like a few times that would be okay. It would be a neat sort of thing.
Like if that was just a boss mechanic only, that'd be great. And then the rest of the game was like just traditional RPG.
Hmm.
I could see that. That'd be great.
Yeah. The other part of the battle system that still I really don't like is that regular battles don't mean anything. Like
They don't mean crap at all in that game.
you could go through the entire game and never fight anything except for the bosses, and it would not change the game in one bit.
Well, there are forced fights you have to do, but it does get really tedious. Like right now, I'm fighting mostly sniffets in my area of the game,
Mm.
and I can't kill them in one move. Everything else I can. And like I said, I'm fighting sniffets. So if you defeat, let's say they throw 8 of them at you, usually per battle, and I can probably defeat 4 of them in one go because it'll give me 2 attacks. That leaves me 4 more, and 3 of them will always attack, and then the
Hmm.
fourth one, it's going to call for backup and brings in like 4 more shy guys, or maybe 4 more, or some sniffets, or it's just really annoying.
Yeah. And see, the thing is, there's so many little bits of that classic battle system in there. You've got the different types of attacks with the hammer and the the boots,
You
and they
you
give you
do get stronger over time. Like you'll like you defeat the first boss, and they're like, hey, I think you're stronger. Go fight a Goomba now, and you like jump on it or hit it with a hammer before battle. It just explodes into a coin.
yeah,
So
but
you
still,
so they have an element in there of strength. It's just it's not listed. It's not a stat. It's just assumed.
it's story based too. It's you
Yes.
hit this point in the story, we're going to go ahead and make you a little bit stronger. There's none of that character customization that you got, but then there's also other little things like the action commands that were, you know, in the first two games, where if you hit a button at the exact right time, uh, when you're attacking something,
Yeah,
you
your
do a
timed
little bit of
attacks.
extra damage, or if you do it when they're attacking you, you take a little bit less damage. And
And
so,
that's still there, thankfully, because otherwise it would be a really boring game to play.
yeah, and that's the thing is I want that character progression back. I want to be able to say, okay, I want to focus more on, you know, the flower points, which was one of the things in the first game or in Thousand Year Door, where you would get to do special attacks more if you had more flower points. Or I want to just make Mario the biggest tank possible, so I'm putting everything into heart points or, you
Yeah,
know,
you
things
don't
like
want to
that.
just be like this guy standing in the middle that's having to take all the hits, and it's like, okay, what do I do? Do I jump or do I hit him with a hammer? Well, depending on what my lineup is, if I can even do that, even though the game says I should, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay, well, I can't kill them all in one move. This really sucks.
And see the combat, the actual once you get past the little slidey puzzle, the combat part is still fun. I love Paper Mario battles, and this is still fun. It's just pointless. There's
Oh,
no
oh, oh!
reason
I
to
gotta
do it.
ask, how do you feel about the hammer timing?
I mean, I think it's fine.
Really?
I preferred the old one in, you know, the
Where
first
you
game
hold
where,
down to charge up and release?
yeah,
Yeah, I would love that. This one, it's like, all right, you got to press it on the timing on this thing, and it's like they sped it up at some point. I don't know when this happened because I was nailing them the first hour of the game. After that, I haven't been able to get consecutive. What is it, excellent or
yeah, excellent is the best you can
yeah,
get.
I cannot get that consecutively anymore. It's like you blink and that timer is gone.
Yeah. And you know, I loved part of that in those early games was the animation with stuff like the hammer attack, where if you did a regular one and just did a little bit of extra power, you would just do a regular hammer swing. Or then if you did a little bit one of the stronger ones, you'd see Mario's, you know, his paper form start to twist up a little bit.
Yeah,
And, you know, the more you did that, the harder your attack was. And that was a nice little touch in that those early battle systems. Um, But and that's the biggest thing the biggest problem I have with the game is that the combat is still like it was in the last couple of games, meaningless for the most part. Um, because there's no real reason to do it. You're not getting anything aside from coins and some extra confetti to use to fill in holes in the world. Um,
you want to know
I
what
like
you want to know what I really love about the game?
what
Finding toads.
yes, and the different ways that you have to find them. Some of them have been really cleverly hidden. Um,
There is a reason to hit every sign you come up to because there's a chance there's a toad.
every sign, every bush, you know, look behind every box because there could be a toad stuck back there that, you know, you'll see the icon to, you know, the action to pull on something and you'll pull and a toad will pop out or um, things like that.
Occasionally, you find like a little hole in the ground and there's part of a toad sticking out. Pull it out, and then there's another one, and another, and another. Like, when does this end?
There's a lot of fun little things like that. Like when you find Luigi the first time and you're wandering around this environment, he's just talking to you from the other dimension because he's stuck.
It's
And
always the other dimension too. I
it
love
is.
that.
And it's a neat little puzzle to try to find him, and you find that he's stuck behind some wallpaper on part of the destroyed castle, you know, destroyed bits of Peach's castle. And that's a fun little thing. There's also so many just small little charming character touches with like Mario, where if you're doing the action commands when you're jumping at the end, he gives you this little pose like he's the greatest thing ever. Or I had posted a thing on Twitter yesterday. I don't know if you saw it, but Mario was walking down a hallway and then some enemies surrounded him. You know, he couldn't go any way without seeing, and they started to inch closer and inch closer and inch closer. And as they got right up on him, he just kind of shrugged his shoulders. He's like, "All right, it's your funeral." And here's
He just gives up. He's like, all right, I gotta do this, I guess.
and then there's a little fight that comes from that. And so there's all those nice little touches of charm that have been in the Paper Mario game forever.
I'm finding your Twitter right now so I can see that.
So,
Oh, the sewer scene. Okay, yeah.
yeah. And what else? The writing is as always in a Paper Mario game hilarious. They fill it with puns and crazy little one-liners that everybody has all over the place. Um, the game it's just full of charm, and
Y-
that you expect that in this series.
I've actually, I can't, I don't want to go into spoiler territory, so never mind. I will be quiet.
Yeah, we can't spoil it for people because the game is still fairly new. Um, but yeah, I find myself as I was cautiously optimistic before this game came out that it was going to be good. And for the most part, it has lived up to my expectations. There are things I don't like about it, but all of the things I do like about the game so far outweigh the things that I don't like about the game. And I can overlook the sort of unnecessary element to the battle system because everything else about the game has been incredibly fun. The puzzles are nice. They seem to be perfectly balanced for difficulty. That may get harder as we go through the game. I don't know yet. I'm only a couple hours in. Um, but every single element of the game is just wrapped up in charm. I'm looking forward to finding toads and seeing what they're doing. I wish there were more sort of uniqueness to the toads like there have been in previous games. Um, but I think we've
They
heard
do seem to have unique personalities, if anything.
but in previous versions of the game, you had, not only the Toads, but the Goombas and the Koopa Troopas. They all had their own sort of unique personality, and they played with the character design of them, which they've gotten away from. And I think part of the development team have said, yeah, we can't really do that sort of weird character design stuff that we did earlier in the series anymore, which is kind of sad because that was one of the things that I really liked about the game was that it played with the world and you weren't just seeing, you know, generic Toad number one,
Yeah.
generic Goomba number one. They all had something about them that made them stand out from everybody else around them. And I would love to see more of that again. Like this game is probably just from what I've played so far, if it continues to be as fun as I'm doing right now, I will probably put this one up into third place on my list of favorite Paper Mario games
Okay.
because it's on its way back to what I really want the Paper Mario games to be. Um, and I can see it being right there alongside Super Paper Mario as something that's different but still really fun.
Okay. Yeah, I can agree with that then.
Yeah. Is there anything that you can think of that I should look forward to that you can talk about without spoilers? Since you've gotten a little bit further. How are
Just,
how are the boss fights? That's one of the things that I haven't really come across.
they are really a lot better. Like, I'm complaining about the stuff for just regular combat, but when
Hmm.
you get into the boss fight where you're working your way from outside the ring to the inside, and you have to go with you have arrows, you have on buttons, you have multipliers, you have extra attacks, and you have to like get all these things lined up just right, just so you can hit like uh, one boss. You're probably gonna have to like focus on. Okay, I have to get over here because this is where one of the legs will be. And then that you work like that. And other times you'll have to be like, okay, well, maybe I need to use the thousand arms, thousand folded arm thing.
Okay.
So you have to mix it up, and it's it works really well.
Is
I,
there a lot of with that sort of ring puzzle because they changed the ring puzzle. It's not the slidey stuff, and it's got like you've got arrows and all this stuff. How
no, you
much?
can still use the slides.
Oh, can you?
It's I keep forgetting it's a thing to use.
How? What kind? I'm assuming that then gives you a various levels of difficulty. If you want to just kind of make a beeline for the boss, can you do that, or can you set up like
You
really?
have to use the arrows so that way you have to use every things that you have on the map. So, like if you want to just go right at the boss, it's like all right, cool, you're here, big deal. And but if you go, have an arrow that points you right into an attack icon, then you get to attack the boss from wherever that icon is. And
Okay.
generally, you want it to be right next to the boss. Otherwise, you're not. I don't know if you can attack from far away, but I know you can use the thousand folded arms from a distance. So
Yeah.
you just kind of have to work with it a little bit to figure out what your style is in the boss fights. And like I said, I keep forgetting you have the slide ability in the boss fights
Yeah.
because you're literally working with an overhead circle at that or rotation at that point.
Hmm.
And basically, you're working your way around the ring with arrows pointing left, right, and up and down. But the boss fights have been pretty interesting. The I mean, you've seen the first one, the pencil guy. That thing was
Yeah.
just the brutality of the attacks you get to do on there are pretty good.
Well, I've seen some stuff like, I think at one point he kind of uses the pencils as like as missiles, but you can slam the pencil case shut and make all those missiles explode inside of it. And
Yeah, you have to do things like that, or uh, uh, maybe there's a boss that you'll just grab part of him and rip him up a little bit. I don't
oh
know.
man. The other thing that I'm really curious about is just how involved Luigi's going to be in the story. Because
I
so far early on, they've sort of, made him disappear for a while and then come back and then disappear for a little bit longer and then come back.
I've run into him a second time already.
Okay. Because one of the things I really liked in Thousand Year Door was finding all of the books that detailed what Luigi was doing at the
No,
same
no,
time.
he told his assistant told you what they did. You would just find him out there in the wild. Like you come back to the city after a while, and there's Luigi. He's got a partner next to him. He's like, "Hey, I just went off and did this. I'm such a hero." And then you talk to the his little helper, and they're like, "No, this is what really happened." And so you have like the blooper who's burned up, and he's like, "Yeah, he kicked me into lava." And he's like, "Oh gosh."
Yeah, I've always wanted to play a super or a paper Luigi game that sort of uh, told Luigi's version of what was going on.
I gave you that link to that comic a while back, didn't I?
Yeah, but I want to play an actual game. Like I want to be Luigi when he's doing all this stuff.
That would be great.
We need more Luigi games is really what I'm saying. Because, he's not the star of enough. So, but yeah, I definitely plan on diving into the Origami King some more this week. Now that I'm finished with Crisis and I can sort of focus on Paper Mario and going through that story because that this is a game I've been excited to play for quite a while now. So, is there anything else that you want to mention before we move on?
Not really. There there are different attack things you get. Like you'll get, let's say you're fighting a bunch of what are they, spinies? Is that what they're called?
Hmm.
So you can't exactly jump on them, but you can hit them with your hammer. But occasionally the puzzle has you line them up straight. So it's like if things are lined up in a line, then well, I guess if they're lined up, have to hit them with a jump attack. Well, you don't have to hit them with jump. It's preferred to hit them with a jump attack. Whereas if you have them 2 by 2 next to each other,
Hmm.
that's when you want to hit them with the hammer. So with Sminies, you can actually equip iron boots, and they're only good for so many attacks, but it'll
Yeah.
let you do attacks on them. So there are augments to your abilities. It's just whenever you get those, and then you have to buy new ones after a while because your
Yeah.
boots would eventually break.
Yeah, that they've followed the Zelda breakable weapon idea.
Just wait till you get the breakable
The
That
breakable what?
game.
Oh, great.
So, oh no, I broke the game. Now I need to get a new one.
I don't want that to happen. So, well, all right. Well, let's take a quick break then. We will come back and we will talk about the news. So, Ethan, what would you say if I told you that Battletoads has a release date?
Does GameStop have it in stock?
Probably not yet.
Oh,
I don't even know if this is getting a physical release.
yeah, I don't know either.
So, this game sort of just disappeared for quite a while. We haven't heard anything about Battletoads that I know of in
What, 2 years?
quite a few months at least, if not over a year. Because Microsoft announced it and then it just sort of disappeared. But in a surprise this week, because the game industry is all about surprises right now, Battletoads has a release date and it is August 20th. We're not that far away, actually.
No, that's pretty close.
So, and it will be coming to both Xbox One and PC, and Game Pass users will be able to play the game for free.
Of course. Steam version will support remote play, and the game
Okay.
will have drop in and drop out local co op.
Yeah, because I think the regular version does not have any online multiplayer, right?
It does not. That's why the remote play is a big thing on that.
Yeah, I may have to splurge for the Steam version. Because I'll play it on Game Pass, but I would like to play this with some friends as well. Because it
I
seems
can't
like
tell
the
if it's
perfect
three
combination.
player or 4 player.
I think it's three. I
Because
seem to remember.
like it says, if 3 people are around, then Rash Pimples. But from like the new trailer, I could have sworn there was a fourth player of like the. Well, I'm not going to spoil that because even though the trailer will be playing right now. So yeah,
So
Battletoads coming out soon. That's gonna be great.
this does have the fun motorcycle levels, but this time they're from a behind the back perspective and not a side perspective. And it looks like you'll have plenty of time to move. So,
And
you
imagine if
know,
you got past the motorcycle level and then learned that the game is actually a lot harder than just that.
oh man. Yeah, because most people, when that game was out on the NES, gave up after those levels because those were insanely hard.
There's literally a level in the game that you can't beat in 2 player mode because the other player gets in the way and dies every time.
And that's not good game design.
Oh, it was an NES game, so
That's true. That's true. A lot of NES games don't really hold up much anymore. There's still some that do. Battletoads, I don't think, is really one of them. I've actually tried going back and playing the NES version with some of my kids, and they didn't really like it.
I wonder why.
So, um, but so yeah, August 20th, it will be out on Xbox One and PC, both the Microsoft Store and Steam. So there you go. Ubisoft this week announced, or Netflix, I guess, announced that the classic Ubisoft game Beyond Good and Evil is getting a movie.
Really?
Yes. And it is, according to the Hollywood Reporter, supposed to be a hybrid live action and CG film similar to like Detective Pikachu, Sonic, that sort of thing.
I think they're trying to
And
get the director from Detective Pikachu, honestly.
yes, the director from Detective Pikachu is on this project, so
Cool.
it looks like he will be directing the movie. Uh, there's no script yet, no release date, no time for filming to start, but Netflix has announced that Beyond Good and Evil is getting a movie. I've never played the first game, so I don't know anything about what
I've
Beyond
never
Good and
played it
Evil
either.
is. So I know there's supposed to be another game coming, but there's no telling when that's ever actually going to get released. So
Ev- uh, Eventually, I guess.
hopefully. Uh, but also, to go along with that, another Ubisoft property is getting the multimedia treatment, and this time in the form of an anime, and that is Splinter Cell.
You know, this is not what people had in mind when they asked for a new Splinter Cell game.
Now, I think they wanted a new actual game and not a TV show.
Instead, we get a cameo in what is it, Ghost Wildlands or something? I forget the name of it.
And then there was that mobile thing.
Oh, that too, but I don't really count that. I mean, mobile is mobile. Ugh. It's yeah. Anyway, yeah, Splinter Cell anime, the thing we never asked for.
Well, maybe it'll be good. We don't know who's going to be
Yeah,
voicing Sam Fisher. I would
uh,
hope
we can hope it's the original voice actor, but we know it won't be.
I would hope they get Michael Ironsides. I think that's who did the original voice.
Sounds about
Um,
right.
but it probably won't happen. Um, we'll see though. Again, like with Beyond Good and Evil, there's no time frame for when this is going to be out. We just know that a Splinter Cell anime is now in the works. So we'll keep you up to date as we hear more about that. I would love to see this. I'm despite only playing a couple of the games, I really like the Splinter Cell universe. You know, I have the book now. I'm going to be reading that. Um, it's just it's one of I'm a big fan of their stealth in that game, and it's made me interested in jumping into that franchise a little more. I want to go back and play through Blacklist again. I would really like a new Splinter Cell game.
We
Maybe
all
one day
would.
it will happen. Maybe one day it will happen. So we shall see.
And if it comes out, maybe we'll have good multiplayer.
That would be fantastic. I would love to play a Splinter Cell game with you.
I've been trying to play Blacklist. I think it's the last one. Me and Jason been trying to play. The multiplayer just doesn't work.
Really?
No, it's a pain just to try to connect to each other on there. Once we're connected,
Yeah.
launch the game and then it crashes instantly.
I seem to remember playing one match online with some random person, or maybe it was just a co-op mission, um, and it didn't work too well. And I think I was playing the Wii version.
Hmm.
So um, I do seem to have some memory of that, though. I don't know, but I'd love for a new Splinter Cell game to come out and have good co-op. So one game we do know is coming, and it will have multiplayer, and it will be free to play. Is
That's a good question.
Halo Infinite. Microsoft this week announced that Halo Infinite will have the multiplayer portion of Halo Infinite will be free to play. This
So
is
the death battle stuff.
yes, the PvP traditional Halo multiplayer, not campaign. That'll be something separate. You'll only get that in the actual game. And I don't even know if we know for sure that the campaign will be co-op. Have they said that?
It surely will be. I
I
mean,
would imagine
it'd
with the
be weird
last
for
few
a
ones.
Halo to not have a co-op campaign.
Yeah, with the last few games having a co-op campaign, it would make sense that Infinite would as well. But Microsoft has talked about Halo Infinite will be the last Halo that's released for a while. They have no plans past this for another Halo game right now, uh, because they're looking to make this their big sort of service. They've got a 10-year plan, they say, for what they're doing with Halo Infinite. Um, it looks a lot like Halo is going to be Microsoft's Destiny. Are you getting that sort of feel from it after with all the stuff that we're hearing?
I've been getting that feel. If you're hearing me kind of laugh, I have the ESA marathon summer marathon on right now, and I just looked over and they just started a run of Ring Fit Adventure, and I think the guy is blindfolded. I can't really tell.
Oh my
It looks like
gosh.
he's wearing a blindfold, but it looks like he can see as well. Okay, so yeah, Halo, right? That's what we're talking about.
That is what we're talking about. Um, Not a ton of details that we know exactly what this is going to be. We're going to have a battle pass. I would imagine we probably will. Um, but they actually tweeted out Halo is for everyone. We can confirm that Halo Infinite multiplayer will be free to play and it will support 120 frames per second on Xbox Series X. Kind of a
Cool.
weird thing to tie into that, but okay.
It's nice to know we have a game console that can do more than 60 frames a second now.
So, yeah. When Halo drops, I'm when is Halo out? We don't know.
Sometime.
It will you will be able to play, you will be able to buy the campaign, or on Game Pass you'll be able to play it for free. And then anybody, if they don't want to play the campaign but they want to play the multiplayer, you'll just be able to download it, play it for free. Um, with probably a bunch of monetization stacked on top, don't you think?
Oh, definitely.
In the form of, armor types and banners and weapon skins and all of that kind of stuff.
I really want them to do like Halo Reach, where we have a new Spartan, like we're our own Spartan at some point, and we get to customize armor and stuff.
I would
Like,
imagine we'll probably see that in the multiplayer.
we'll hopefully have like your base campaign, and then there's like they do a Destiny thing where you're out there in doing a thing on a planet. Then yeah, that'd be nice. Like actual missions and stuff with
Yeah, and
friends.
not just the competitive multiplayer stuff.
Yeah,
Do you think they would go that route though,
I bet they would.
of copying
I
their
mean, I mean,
former?
they're not going to have just they got to have something in place because I mean, 10 years with just Halo Infinite, I doubt they can do that.
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense that we see something like that. I can't imagine them trying to keep up another, a singular campaign like this for 10 years starring Master Chief. There has to be something else that they're going to be doing. So, um, they did say more details will be shared later. They haven't shown off any of the multiplayer yet, and I'm imagining this is why they were wanting to wait a little bit before they announced Halo. I mean, the multiplayer so soon after the campaign was shown off, and this got leaked by a an Irish retailer, and then they went ahead and confirmed, yes, the multiplayer will be free to play.
Didn't know it was an Irish retailer.
Yep,
Interesting.
it was. So, I would imagine we will probably see a big, uh, you know, whatever inside Xbox presentation on the multiplayer stuff when they're ready to fully announce what their plans are for it.
Right.
So, and then lastly in the news, this is probably more, I'm more interested in this than maybe you are, but there is news now from GeForce Now that Steam libraries have will be able to sync with the GeForce Now service. So any games in your Steam library that are also compatible with GeForce Now. Previously, you've had to go in and find those yourself and add them to your library. That will just now automatically happen. Um, it will be in your game in your My Library section of the GeForce Now app. Any game from Steam will just now automatically show up in there, so you don't have to go through the process of trying to figure out which of your games are compatible with GeForce Now and which ones aren't.
They just are.
They just are. And Steam, I think, seems to be really trying hard to get the majority of the Steam
Oh yeah,
library
they're definitely for it, unlike
on GeForce Now.
other companies that are like, no, we don't want people having bad experiences with our games on their cell phone. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, well, miss out on that then.
Epic is fully behind GeForce Now. Tim Sweeney has been very vocal about the fact that he likes people to be able to play their games whenever, wherever. And
Exactly, that's the best way to phrase that.
and now Steam is also jumping on that bandwagon. Maybe we'll start to see more compatibility from people with GeForce Now going forward.
Pretty soon, you might see BattleNet change their mind and be like, yeah, we want people to play Blizzard or games on there.
Maybe, maybe.
I said Battle. Blizzard play. Yeah, yeah. I'm not even
UB,
correcting myself. I don't care now.
yeah, Ubisoft is also very much in the GeForce Now streaming bandwagon as well. Um, so that's like three really big companies there that are trying to push developers to allow their games to be available through the cloud streaming services for people that want to be able to do that. Um, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's a good thing. Some people have had really, really great experiences with game streaming. Some people have had really bad experiences, but um, I think more options is never a bad thing.
I'll agree.
So it's good to see more companies starting to come around to uh, allowing their games to be on these game streaming services. So we shall see. But that is going to be it for the news. We got one bit of listener feedback this week, and it comes from Chris via Twitter. Uh, sorry, my words got a little bit tongue tied there. And you just want to know how the old crew doing. Any chance they may come back for an end of the year special or something? Still love you guys, but would like for Shelby and Micah to know we miss hearing from them, and we need more Rife and Bopple as well. Shannon still pokes his head in here every once in a while. We'll see him on our Wednesday night streams occasionally. If he's got a big game that he wants to talk about, he'll come back on the podcast on Mondays and Tuesdays. The other guys just have other things I think that are going on in their lives right now, and they've got to focus on that. And I can't blame them. So we would love. I think we're trying to see if maybe we can get a bit of a reunion show back in some form in the near future. I think you've been working a little bit on that.
Yeah, I tried.
So
There's one person that hasn't fully made up their mind.
yeah, so we would love for it to happen, and we try every once in a while to gauge interest on whether or not those guys would be interested in coming back. I know Micah is really focused right now on the convention scene, and he is in charge
Or the
of one of
lack of convention scene
well,
now.
at the moment, yes. He is in charge of one of the conventions now around here, and that takes up a lot of his time when he's not, at his day job. So uh, we we extend the invitation. Those guys know the door is open anytime they want to come back for anything. Um, so we'll see what happens. Maybe at the end of the year we can get them back for an end of the year Christmas special. And, see what happens. So there you go. But that will be it for the show. Anything else you want to mention before we head out?
I don't understand why someone would want to do a speed run of Ring Fit Adventure.
I mean, there's a story to it, isn't there? I don't know.
It
I've not
looks
played
like
the
there
game,
is,
so
but I'm just I is he
I
still
thought it was sort of
blindfolded?
like We Fit, where there was you had.
I'm more confused why you would want to be blindfolded doing this.
And on a game that has not been out for that long. Yeah,
But it doesn't even
generally
say blindfolded is an incentive. He's just doing it.
maybe that's just how he likes to play the game. I don't know. I don't really know anything about the game, so I don't know how easy or hard it is to do it blindfolded. With like games like Mario, where people have figured out sort of the perfect path and the perfect timing through that game. I think it's
Yeah,
much easier to
this one
do
would be
that.
more like just keeping up with a rhythm.
I know there are some people that will play rhythm games without looking at the screen because the visual portion of it messes with the way they hear it. And so there are some games that they don't need to see, they just need to hear. And
Yeah, I get it. I'm just
so maybe there's some of that aspect to it where you don't necessarily need to see what's happening on the screen. You can just react to what you hear.
maybe.
So
So yeah, ESA uh, uh, summer thing. It's like GDQ and whatever. I've been watching it all weekend, and I don't know. It's probably near the end of its summer run right now. I don't know enough about their events.
no. Well, all right. I guess with that will be the end of the show. So thank you for being here, Ethan.
It was fun.
If you want to reach out to us, we have new ways to do so. You can email us at procedurallygeneratedent@gmail.com. If you like what we do, you can support us on Patreon by going to patreon.com/pgent. Patreon supporters get the video version of the podcast a day early. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/progenint. Check out our YouTube channel, and we still have that famous Facebook group where you can interact with us on a daily basis as well.